These are the live pictures coming to you from the Union buildings out in the nation's capital. You can carry on, Minister. As you can see, the Minister of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture showing us the pass that he's just recently learned. And he looks like he's going to smash into some camera people. Minister, you've done your work for the day. Thank you so much. Minister Zizi Kodwa joins us now. And Minister, we look at this World Cup and we've heard Siyakolisi speak about how 2019 the trophy was for the team and this one now in 2023 was for the people of South Africa, because we've seen how sport and rugby in this instance has been such a great tool for nation building.
Well, if we look back at 2019, there are individuals that we must single out that really must be recognized. I'm talking about Rassie. In 2019, Rassie appoints Siyakolisi. And that invited a lot of criticism against him. History be the judge. That decision, with the most diverse team that is unbuilt in 2019, we won. It's Rassie who influenced the appointment of Jacques as a coach. At the time, he was simply a physio. That invited a lot of criticism. He stuck and stood by his decision. History be the judge. Jacques brought us So you've got this leadership of Rassie that has lifted up sport and the rugby as a symbol of national identity and national unity. Sia being the symbol that unites so many people of color, black people in general, can now relate with the rugby, not as a white sport.
And you speak about leadership, and I want us to go a little bit deeper, Minister, because we've seen in the Springbok team, there are so many leaders. I mean, yes, Siyakolisi is the captain, but you look at Andre Pollard, he's a leader. You look at Eben, he's a leader. You look at Bonyi Mbonami, he's a leader. So just really showing us, Suguti, when we do have a national team that can step up at any given point.
What makes them unique is discipline. I spent a lot of time with them, both in camps, even before they left. When I handed over the national flag to Sia, I explained what does it mean. During the send-off at Owar Tambo, I said we are playing with this flag, and this flag represents diversity. This, as you leave for the battlefield, use this flag to unite us. They did exactly that. Using the flag, look at what's happening in the country now. What disturbs me though, I must say, I see when I read some disturbing comments which undermine the project of national unity and the national identity of the country, which is brought about this win. I hear comments about this team must come to this area because this player comes from this area. These players don't represent a village. None of these players represent a city. None of these players represent a race. These are national heroes. I saw a video, for example, as we were in Paris, of people in Thohoyandou. Nicely biggest, beautiful. There's no player here that comes from Thohoyandou. I mention it because I'm in other areas. But in this team, they can see this team represent their aspiration. So it's wrong when people can make a fair point that we want to see this player. It cannot be that because he comes from this village. Because no player is a representative of a village, of a city. These are our national heroes. It may undermine the effort of national unity.
Minister, just as I quickly wrap up with you, the biggest lessons learned from the Springbok team and what Cyril has done here that we'd like to see move across to the other sporting codes?
It's just organization. I mean, if you look at Cyril, if you look at Springboks, most organized. And I dare say, how I wish other federations can take a leaf. And I'm not saying that to suggest anything. There's a lot to learn, to share. A person like Rassie can coach any other sporting coach. But it's not about the rugby. It's a mindset, it's a culture. The guy is genius. It's simply the genius.
Thank you so much, Minister. And there we go, the Minister of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. You would have heard the audience here behind me starting to scream, because if you actually go across, and I do believe we've got a camera there with Crisaldo Lewis, the Springbok bus just driving up now here out at the Union Buildings, and it's gone around. And I don't think at this point we'll be able to see it, but also as you can see down there, there's also people that are of course down there as well. Here's the bus, here's the bus, here's the bus. Ladies and gentlemen, all right, this is not the team bus just yet. Let's see if we can go across that way to my left. That's where you can see the bus that has got the 2023 Rugby World Cup champions in the Springboks. And of course, it's an entire parade. It's the Webb Ellis Trophy. Siya Kolisi joins Macau of New Zealand to become the second captain in the history of the Rugby World Cup to lift the Webb Ellis Trophy. Although many do say South Africa's counts more than any other, because of course, it is South Africa that managed to win the Webb Ellis Trophy 3 times away from South Africa. When you look at New Zealand, they first did it in 1987 on home ground. They did it in 2011 on home ground. And the final one when they defended it was in 2015, which was in England. And you look at the Springboks and the South African side and what they were able to do. They only won the 1995 here on home ground in South Africa. But every single time after that, it was not on home soil. And we also remember that in 1987, the Springboks were not part of that World Cup. So many rugby lovers saying that one shouldn't count for New Zealand. But we can officially tell you that the Springboks have arrived here at the Union Buildings. It's the official commencement of the 2023 Webb Ellis Trophy Tour, starting out here at the Union Buildings. All right, and we can see there are people that are here behind me as well, here to enjoy the festivities. If you are around the Pretoria area, you can also come through to the Union Buildings. The trophy tour starts here. It moves from Pretoria, it moves into Johannesburg, and it will finally conclude out in Soweto, in the south of Johannesburg. I want to get this moment because this is nice. Oh my goodness. This is basically the vibe out here at the Union Building. Do you remember Cape Town? You are up next on the trophy tour. That is tomorrow, and then it moves into Durban, and finally concluding for this leg out in East London. And then at the beginning of 2024, they will be out, of course, in Port Elizabeth. Now, they've said that these areas were chosen based on the population for Johannesburg, Cape Town and Durban, and East London is just because of the significance of the sport of rugby out in that province. So we'll see which other centres are also added in at the beginning of 2024. But basically, this is the vibe out here at the Union Buildings in the nation's capital. The Springboks have officially arrived. President Cyril Ramaphosa will be here to receive the team. We also saw the Minister of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, Zizi Kodwa, also speaking to us for a brief moment and just setting the tone in terms of what can be expected out here this morning. And the convoy of the Springboks is arriving now up here. The bus should be coming at any second now.